What is the most offensive, defensive shot in pickleball? What? Offensive, defensive? Maybe it's a lob or a dink. Well, let's see. Dinks can be neutral, so they could be offensive or defensive. Maybe a reset? I don't know. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, my name is Keith Valentine and today we're going to talk about the Cobra Kai method of pickleball. More defense equals more offense. Yes! Let's talk about what the most offensive defensive shot in pickleball is, because we want to be offensive. Everyone knows that the server is at a disadvantage in pickleball because you're starting in a defensive position. So the most logical defensive shot to hit is a third shot drop. What a third shot drop is when you're trying to hit the ball into the non-volley zone or the kitchen and get it to where your opponent is hitting the ball from below the net. This gives you time to get up to the kitchen line so you can get in a better position to create some offense or construct a point. But does this option always have to be defensive? Take a look at this. That was pretty offensive, wasn't it? But you have to add some topspin to it. Spinning the ball actually is the hardest part, especially for people without tennis or table tennis background, better yet, because they understand how to hit the spin, and the mechanics of it are not that easy to learn. So you need some way to figure out how to brush up on the ball. There are some devices that come to the rescue here. We have the TopSpin Pro and the wheel. These devices can help you learn the mechanics of this shot in days, not weeks or years, or even with a coach. You can do it by yourself and practice and learn the mechanics. Let's get into it. First, let's start with the TopSpin Pro. This was a tennis tool that was taught to people to learn how to hit topspin ground strokes, and it has been converted to pickleball. So they put a pickleball here. What it's got nice, it's got this little arm that retracts, so when you hit, you can't hit through it, right? You can't hit through it. This would be a drive that is a flat drive with no spin. What it does is it teaches you how to brush up on the ball. So you get in your stance, you get in your open stance, or you get in your closed stance, and you practice just taking the paddle back and brushing up on the ball without trying to touch the top half of this. Now you'll notice in pickleball you can't close your face as much as this is because the ball is not going to go anywhere. It doesn't grab. So in pickleball you have to have a little bit of an open face when you hit the ball. For any kind of topspin drop shots or any kind of topspin drives, you actually have to get up underneath the ball and then you have to brush across it with a slightly open face like this. And so you practice here and you can see how I'm hitting that ball through, but I'm trying to be very careful of not hitting this because I want to just practice the brush. Now, if I want to start practicing a little bit more to where I'm hitting through the ball and smothering the ball through my drive, I'm just going to take off this top part and let you guys see how I like to practice with this device. Now, with the top off of this, I can practice the way you'd really want to hit with pickleball, which is not just a brush up stroke, because this ball will drop short every time and it will not make it over the net. What we want to do is we want to make sure we're hitting through and across. So we're hitting through and across. So as we're putting spin on it, we're not going straight up, we're going across it, and you do this a couple hundred swings a day and you'll be hitting top spin shots from every position on the court. Now let's take a look at the wheel. Take it away, Mark.
So if you have no experience, previous experience with table tennis or tennis, it's probably hard to spin the ball. To learn that, there is a special device, and the special device you can buy either already made by manufacturer, which is pretty hard to find, or you can make it just using old kid's bicycle. Now, how you learn to topspin the ball? You brush the ball, and actually, if you have the wheel, you will brush the wheel and see how it spins. You brush the wheel from low to high, like this, and you try to really make the wheel spin, not hit it hard like this, because in that case, it doesn't actually spin much, but really brush it, make it spin. Also, if you use your body and your legs, that would help a lot. So you do it like this for forehand. You can do the same with backhand.
If you add some topspin to it, it gives you several different things that help out. Let's go through the reasons. One, it makes a higher trajectory. So as the ball is coming down at a steeper level, it gives you more margin for error on the other side of the net. So it's coming in steeper and it will land inside the kitchen a little bit harder at a little bit more steeper angle. Gives you more time to get up to the kitchen line because that's really where you want to be, being defensive and offensive, setting up your point. Secondly, because spin affects trajectory. It's harder to predict for the opponent. It's harder for the opponent to figure out where they need to hit the ball from. And they have to judge how much spin you put on it. So if they're trying to volley it out of the air, it's going to spin up and into them. So they have to adjust their angle to just take the ball out of the air. Because of that topspin, it will make the ball lift higher when they return it to you. So they really have to be careful with the reaction to that. If they lift it too high, you can approach and kill the ball. So it's a good setup shot. Third thing it does is if they let the ball bounce, because of the spin, it's going to bounce into their body or to one direction or the other because it's irregular because of the spin you put on it. Sometimes it'll go left, sometimes it'll go right, sometimes it goes towards the body. What does that do for us? It backs them up from the line. They got to back up from the line and react to the ball. They got to move their body and get over for a forehand or a backhand so they can react to your shot. So therefore, you're dictating their pay offensively with a defensive shot. And even if the ball bounces high, they are backing up from the net. It is hard for them to react, and it's really hard for them to do anything offensive against you because they're reacting to your shot. Okay, let's talk about strategy with this shot. So first off, aim for the backhand if you can. If you can get established and you can hit a top spin drop to the backhand, it is an extremely effective shot. Take a look at this. But that doesn't take out the cross drop shot to the forehand. Look at this shot. This is another great way to do it. Look at the pressure this puts on the opponents because they're having to react to the spin and that's coming at a very, very high rate, but not going wide enough for them to get a ATP. Hey, please click like and subscribe. The second key to this is to make sure that you have a high enough trajectory. The apex of your shot, usually about halfway between you and the net and usually about 5 to 6 feet high. That way you're going high enough so the trajectory is coming steep because a steep ball is hard to hit. It's hard to volley out of the air with the topspin on it. Also, it's really hard to defend when it's bouncing this way. Secondly, when it has that steep trajectory, when the ball bounces, as we showed you before, it's harder to adjust to the spin or the bounce based on the spin. So, you still feel uncomfortable with the third shot drop? Then try these.